Testing 1, 2, 3. What's going on, guys? It's Jaime, the Aguillon International Group, and today I'm talking about the housing market. What's going on since the Federal Reserve has had an interest rate hike of 3/4, which is the largest hike since 1994. It's a big deal, and they're doing it to combat inflation. So, what does that mean to you guys here in town? If you're buying a home, selling a home, if you're renting and you're thinking about buying, what should you do today? So, the reason I'm making this video for you guys is so you can make an informed decision. Whatever you do with this data, it's up to you. But at least this way you'll get some real news, some true facts, and don't get confused or discouraged by the information and the data that the news is putting out there with the housing market. Remember that the news medias are talking about the country as a whole. They're not talking about San Antonio specifically. It's an average of what the whole country is doing. The information I'm going to share with you today is specific to San Antonio, Texas. So I'm going to share my screen with you so that way you guys can fact check me and see that the information I'm sharing with you is actually true. The first thing I want to cover is what happened on the 15th last week. And you can read this for yourself. The Federal Reserve on June 15th of 2022 lifted interest rates by 0.75, also known as 0.75%, which is the third hike this year. So in the beginning of the year, interest rates were like in the low fours. Now we're sitting at 6%. And it's believed by a lot of economists that the interest rates for a mortgage are going to get to 7%. So I want to share something with you as I'm going over this data. And I made a video that I sent out to a lot of people last week too. So this might be something that you've already seen. If you haven't, you're really going to appreciate it if you're thinking of buying or selling a home. So at the beginning of the year, interest rates were still 4%. If you're buying a $350,000 home, which is the average cost of a house in San Antonio, 5% down, which is pretty typical over 30 years, your mortgage on that house is $1,733 a month, which you see right here at 4% amortized over 30 years, 5% down, $350 purchase price. Interest rates are now 6%, right? Which means your payment is now $2,139. That's almost $500 difference. So with interest rates going up, your house is going to cost you more on a monthly basis. But that's not the only thing that you need to consider. So some of my friends and family have said, hey, Jaime, I'm going to wait to buy. I'm going to rent another year, which is totally cool. But here's what could potentially happen. If you wait to buy a home until interest rates they may go down, they may not. They might stay here forever, right? But if you wait a year or 2 years, houses are still going to cost more money than what they do today. Historically speaking, if you look back to the Great Recession in San Antonio, the houses really didn't experience big price drops the way New York did, California. During that time period, on average, homes were appreciating by 4%, which typically San Antonio housing appreciates between 6 to 10%. So yes, the recession did cause houses to appreciate at a slower rate. And in some areas and neighborhoods, they didn't appreciate at all. They actually went down. But on average, they appreciate 4% per year. So if that did happen again, because interest rates and the housing bubble crashing, you're still going to likely pay more money for a house in a year or 2 years than what you're going to pay for it today. So instead of waiting, consider buying it today, lock in your interest rate, and then in a year from now or 2 years from now, refinance if the interest rates do go down. So at least this way you take advantage of your tax write-offs, which you can get depreciation. You pay what it's worth today, and now your house is worth more in a year or 2 years from now than what it's worth today. So now you have kind of like a triple advantage to buying now versus waiting. Now, the other thing is if you've got a house that you're thinking of selling, but you're not sure you want to sell it because you're not sure where you're going to be able to move, are you going to find another home? Another statistic that you might find really valuable, I track this every month, sometimes every week. There are more listings hitting the market month after month, which is going to impact the seller's market that we have today. In a seller's market, all that means is sellers have a little more advantage with the price that they get for their home. In a buyer's market, the buyers potentially have more of an advantage on negotiating a sales price. So if you look at March of this year, I'm going to show you this page here. We had a month supply of inventory. All that means is in 1 month, if nobody else put a house for sale, every one of those listings right there, the 4,258 would be sold in less than a month. That's how strong of a seller's market it was in March, right? So if you look at April, right after March, there was 4,800 listings available. So we're starting to see more inventory hit the market month after month. And the month supply is right around 1.2. So still a strong seller's market. But if you look at May, there's over 6,000 listings. And look at this, months of inventory is 2 months. The more that number goes up, the less likely sellers are going to be able to get multiple offers and super high asking prices where the buyers are not asking for concessions. June hasn't came out yet from San Antonio Board of Realtors, but I know that this number's gone up in June as well. I mean, April, May. Yeah, in June, there's been more listings hitting the market than what we saw last month. So all that means is if you're thinking of selling, but you kind of want to wait, your best time to sell your house is going to be today. Nobody knows the future. We don't know if it's going to continue to go up or go down, but we do know what's going on today. And based on this data, that's a 20% increase. Your house is worth 20% more today than what it was a year prior, probably 30% more than what it was 2 years ago. So if you want to get the most for your home today, reach out to me, text me, call me, give me an email, and I'll help you to create a game plan where you're not homeless, you get the most money, and you move on your time frame. If you're thinking of buying a home and you don't want to pay crazy amounts of money over the listing price, reach out to me, because that's 6,000 new listings I can help you find. And there are lots of listings that aren't even hitting the public market. I've got relationships with our brokerage of 1,100 agents. I've got relationships with agents throughout the city where we're able to find you houses before they hit the market. So you're not having a battle with 20 other buyers. You might just have to be competing against 2 or 3, which gives you a competitive advantage versus going into the market against 20 other buyers. But I hope this information was helpful. This is a broad overlook of San Antonio, and every zip code is different in town. So I'm your friend, I'm your realtor, I'm your family member, whoever's watching this video. My intent is that you make an informed decision. I love making this video for you because it's going to help you be, more educated and more knowledgeable about the whole process of what's going on in San Antonio. So whatever you're hearing on the news and the media, it's not all fake. A lot of it is, but reach out to me if you hear something like that doesn't sound right. Give me a call, and I'd love to serve you at any capacity. All right, guys, have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Okay, until next time.